This is CBN NewsWatch.
Thank you so much for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Ephraim Graham. I want to begin this half hour in the Middle East, where Israel's ground troops are continuing to decimate Hezbollah and its resources. Meanwhile, Israel's reportedly been talking about hits on Iran's oil facilities, which sent oil prices surging. Paul Strand has the story now. He's reporting from Jerusalem.
Israeli jets are keeping up their strikes on Hezbollah in Beirut and its suburbs. One target was the terrorist group's intelligence headquarters, and one strike was meant to hit their reported new top leader as he met with other Hezbollah officers who have not already been taken out by other attacks. IDF troops in southern Lebanon are taking a heavy toll on Hezbollah fighters. The IDF estimates some 100 have been killed over the course of the last day. One of those was the Hezbollah officer responsible for the rocket attack that killed 12 children on a soccer field in the Druze community of Majd al-Shams this July. The IDF's main spokesman says Israeli troops are determined to wipe out Hezbollah's presence and extensive infrastructure located so close to Israel.
As part of our efforts to make sure that the residents of northern Israel can return to their home in safety and security without the threat of Hezbollah on their doorstep.
And Israel launched an airstrike in the West Bank aimed at the local Hamas leader. Palestinians say the bombing killed at least 18 people and injured many others. Hamas's popularity has surged in this region, right inside Israel's borders. Meanwhile, U.S. officials are working to get Israel to show restraint when it retaliates for Iran's massive assault with 180 missiles this week. President Biden admits the two allies are talking about Israel hitting Iran's oil facilities. Rumors of that have already sent oil prices higher as energy analysts worry aloud.
Looking at where the prices will go, definitely it depends on where the destruction would be and how much oil is going to be taken off the market.
A top official in the European Union is more worried about Israel attacking Iran's nuclear facilities. He insists the Jewish nation not launch such strikes, warning no one knows what kind of radioactive dangers could be unleashed blowing up such facilities.
These attacks are extremely dangerous and have a serious potential to create consequences on an incalculable scale.
10 members of the UN Security Council are going further, demanding all sides in this conflict stop the fighting now.
We condemn the current cycle of violence and call for an immediate end to all hostilities.
But the violence does go on. Yemen's Houthis keep blowing up ships that might have anything to do with Israel, like this British oil tanker attacked in the Red Sea Thursday. And Iran just released new video of what it says were its rockets roaring off to hit Israel this past Tuesday. It's a way to remind the Jewish nation Iran has hit it with massive missile barrages twice now and can certainly do it again. Paul Strand, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Bethlehem, the birthplace of the biblical King David and Jesus, now a new film, indicates the next Hamas war against Israel may come from that once holy town. CBN News Middle East correspondent Julie Stahl is on the story. She's going to show us how the United Nations is actually paving the way for the next attack.
When Israel entered Gaza after October 7th, soldiers found evidence that Hamas had used UNRWA facilities for training and weapons storage, with a number of UN workers working with the group.
Hamas's relationship with UNRWA is good, very good. We assist UNRWA and Hamas cooperates with UNRWA on many levels.
For years, CBN News has reported how Hamas uses UN schools and summer camps in Gaza to indoctrinate thousands of children. They're taught to hate and even kill Jews while learning Israel is an illegitimate state that should be destroyed.
You're the generation that is being trained to fight. Although you're young, you're being trained for holy war.
Now a new film by the Nachum Bedin Center for Near East Policy Research shows how this education of hate is being spread to young students in Judea and Samaria, also known as the West Bank.
David, tell us about your new film.
The new movie, UNRWA at War, will show how UNRWA instigated the war from day one, show how UNRWA is preparing a new war in the area of Bethlehem, in the 4 UNRWA refugee camps in Bethlehem.
What would a war coming from Bethlehem look like?
It would spill out into Beit Shemesh, into Efrat, into Jerusalem, and with similar atrocities. Because from their point of view, the end justifies the means. And they've been educated since August 1st, 2000 in the new school system to believe that they have a right to take back any land lost in 48 by force of arms.
Yeah. Bethlehem is only about 5 miles from Jerusalem. Badine's crew interviewed children and teenagers in 4 nearby UNRWA refugee camps and asked, can Jerusalem be divided between Palestinians and Jews?
No, we won't agree to it. It's impossible. Jerusalem is ours, and we won't give up Jerusalem. We will give our souls for Al-Aqsa if Jews will take it. Israel will not withdraw from our land. We have to fight for it. We have to fight in order to free Palestine, and with Allah's help, we will have our land. What is the solution to Jerusalem? To kill the Jews. We'll get rid of the Jews. My only desire is to become a martyr.
There will never be peace between the Palestinian and the Zionist state. I desire a martyr's death so I can become a role model for the next generation who seek to give their soul to Palestine.
Interesting also that it's Bethlehem, which has a real strong biblical connection.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and this is the whole point.
Yeah.
That Bethlehem is recognized around the world. But when we conducted one of our short films shows the children there wanting all to go, to think that they all should live in Malcha, which is now a thriving neighborhood in Jerusalem. Mm-hmm. And they think they're going back there, and they think they're going to take their people's homes and kill everybody there. Again, the difference between this and a regular terrorist organization is that this is not encouraging hatred, this is encouraging murder.
Yeah. How can it be stopped?
You have a law enforcement system, and anyone who's involved with terror gets arrested and stopped. It's not a rocket scientist. This can happen. But if there's a will, there's a way. And trying to have easy solutions, there's at least 12 prominent personalities around the world, so just get rid of UNRWA. Well, I'd like to be the king of Siam also. You can't do everything, or as a great rabbi once said, you can't always get what you want. Mm-hmm. Well, think of who said that. But you can't always get what you want. You can't just get rid of it. What you can do is you can introduce policy initiatives that will change the situation.
Badine says it's important to introduce policies that will change policies if you want the situation to improve. Julie Stahl, CBN News, Jerusalem.
And you can see more news from the Middle East by checking out Jerusalem Dateline on the CBN News Channel. It airs at 8 Eastern. You can also watch it on the CBN News Channel or YouTube. Coming up, we're going to take a look at the rescue and recovery efforts in the aftermath of Hurricane Helene. Stay with us. You're watching CBN NewsWatch. Welcome back to CBN NewsWatch. A temporary deal has been reached that stops the 3-day strike for U.S. dock workers from the East and Gulf Coast ports. Analysts had been concerned a prolonged strike could lead to shortages and hurt the economy overall. The union representing 45,000 dock workers and the U.S. Maritime Alliance, which represents ports and shipping companies, reached a tentative agreement on wages. The agreement suspends the strike until January 15th to provide more time to negotiate a new contract. Members of the International Longshoremen's Association will resume work starting today. Hurricane Helene's death toll continues to rise, now with more than 200 people reportedly killed by the storm. Search and rescue operations are still underway, and many residents in hard-to-reach areas remain in desperate need of help. Gary Lane is on the story.
In North Carolina, with floodwaters receding, the extent of the devastation is more apparent. Mud and debris can be seen everywhere. Crews work tirelessly to clean up the mess and restore electricity. The search for the missing and the dead in Buncombe County, North Carolina, continues, and National Guard troops are now on the ground in Asheville. Still, many residents complain they've received little help from the federal government. In the absence of government assistance, many of the hurricane victims are having to rely on help from private citizens. Volunteers on pack mules took insulin to mountain families in Swannanoa, and CBN's Operation Blessing is on the scene, serving up hundreds of hot meals daily, distributing water and solar-powered lanterns for people without electricity, and delivering help to unreached people in Swannanoa and hard-hit neighborhoods, including this trailer park.
Y'all are the first. Operation Blessing. And it means everything to me. That's so much compassion you have for people like two old ladies.
This resident, Dontarius Walker, was grateful for the hot meals delivered to him. He was hungry because he didn't have cash to buy food.
The system was set down, you came to get to the banks and get your cash out, so you're just struggling out.
And Jordan Ledford explains what no electricity and running water has meant for him.
You can't use the bathroom with no water. I'm walking down to a creek and carrying buckets up my hill just to flush the toilet every day. You gotta stay in your car and charge your phone.
These two men drove up from Florida to volunteer to help Operation Blessing. And another OB volunteer, Sanae Simpson, explained why she showed up.
I really want to spread Jesus to those in our city and just to show what his love feels like in this hard times.
And little Tatiana Moore says she is thankful for people like Operation Blessing who've come to help her family in their time of need.
A hurricane comes and it destroys our house. God likes people want to help and love people.
Gary Lane, CBN News.
If you'd like to support Operation Blessing as it helps to help those who are hardest hit by Helene, you can call 1-800-700-7000, or you can simply go to Operation Blessing's website. That is ob.org. Still ahead, we're going to talk to a fashion designer whose company blends faith with fashion. Stay with us. You're watching CBN NewsWatch. And welcome back to CBN NewsWatch. Tashi Incorporated is a faith-based brand with sophisticated fashions. The New York company aims to uplift women in the Christian faith. Natasha Lampkin is the brand's founder and CEO, and she's joining us now. Natasha, why was it important to blend faith and fashion, and how does your brand do that?
Hi, Efren, and hi, everyone, first and foremost. Well, why was it important for me to blend faith and fashion? Was because of my conviction of immodesty when I was working as a model. And this was about 10 years ago, where I had the epiphany that I needed to start my own clothing line that incorporated the Christian faith and modest fashion. As you know, the fashion industry is all about sex sells. And when I was working as a model, and during the peak of my career, I just felt very empty inside. And I just started to do some soul searching and to figure out really what was going on, the pinpoint, why was I feeling this way? And that's when I found a deeper relationship with God. And I decided that I wanted to dress more modestly. And eventually my gigs started to dissipate. And I had the inclination that I needed to go back into the fashion industry. But that's when God, he wanted me to incorporate my faith with fashion and to promote modesty in fashion.
So take me then to the beginning. How does this begin for you? People are hearing the story and seeing the fashions, but wondering, okay, so where do I get started?
It started from my conviction of immodesty. Mm-hmm. When I had that epiphany that I need to start my own clothing line that promoted modesty in fashion and the Christian faith, that was the inception of the brand, of Tashi Inc. And God, he sent me 3 confirmations to show me how I was able to do that. Because first, I wasn't completely sold about the whole idea. Mm-hmm. To be honest with you, I didn't really grow up in church. I was living the polar opposite of how I was now. And I really didn't know anything about modesty and fashion. But with those 3 confirmations, he showed me there were some people in the industry that promoted modesty and fashion and the Christian faith. And then incorporating the ministry aspect of it too as well. So when he sent me those 3 confirmations, I was completely sold up with the whole idea. And that's when the inception started. And then I had to leave my 9 to 5 in order for me to do a launch. And after the soft launch, that's when things started to grow, things started to expand because we received more exposure from then.
Beautiful. So did you have experience with designing? I know you were a model, but were you also designing at that time?
Yes, I am a FIT alumni, Fashion Institute of Technology.
Yes, very familiar.
Yes. And I received 2 degrees from Fashion Institute of Technology, one in fashion design and my bachelor's in international trade and marketing. So I do have a design and marketing and business background in fashion. So after college, I was working as an assistant stylist for an agency, a wardrobe styling agency for a short while. But then I wanted to pursue my modeling career.
What advice do you have for those who aspire to be in the fashion industry?
The advice that I have for those who aspire to be in the fashion industry is to put God first. If you are, especially if you are a believer, God is my CEO. He is completely the one who is in the driving seat and guiding me along the way. So for me, that's what helped me. It's putting God first, because before I didn't incorporate God in my clothing line, I was just designing anything. I'm very creative. I'm very talented, but I didn't have a purpose for what I was doing. But now that I have a purpose, it's more fulfilling. And I get to give back to my community and give back to ministry because of my brand.
Beautiful. So you are obedient to God and you do what he's told you to do. What's been the greatest sort of high, I guess, in that process that, you've seen happen for you?
The greatest high within that process is hearing the testimonies from my customers about how my brand changed their lives.
Oh, wow.
I think that's the most rewarding. Like, yes, we have been in international publications like Vogue Italia, Elle Arabia. We received an award from the New York mayor because of our works in ministry and fashion. But however, the most important thing is when you change lives.
Natasha Lemon, thank you so much for joining us. You at home, remember you're watching CBN News Watch. We'll be right back. Welcome back to CBN News Watch. A powerful new film is in theaters just in time for the weekend. It's called White Bird, a prequel to the award-winning film Wonder. In Wonder, a boy named Julian was suspended from school for being cruel to another boy. Now in the film White Bird, Julian starts at a new school but finds it hard to fit in. His life is transformed after his grandmother shares the story of her attempts to escape Nazi-occupied France during World War II. Take a look.
Julien, you did not leave your old school. You were expelled for being cruel to another boy. I'm sure your father has told you stories about when I was a young girl.
He says you don't really like to talk about it.
I don't. But now, I think, for your sake, I must.
Excuse me.
Oh, God, what is he doing?
I saw this on your desk.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I didn't even know his name.
Look at this freak.
But we had in common one crucial thing.
These are really good. For a Jew.
We had both seen how much hate people are capable of.
One of the children's missing.
Find them! And how much courage it took to be kind.
You need to come with me right now. I know a way out.
You stay with us, okay?
I sat down with the film's director, Mark Forrester, for the story behind the story.
I think it speaks about compassion, bravery, hope, and endurance of friendship, all these kind of themes. But at the same time, I would say, that it also shows the reality of war and the cruelty and how harsh people can be.
And we'll have more on the film and our interview with Mark on next week's Studio 5. White Bird is playing right now in theaters nationwide. The audience for the popular streaming series The Chosen has the potential to grow exponentially in the coming years. The series on the life and ministry of Jesus and his disciples has gained a huge English-speaking following. Well, now there's an effort underway to translate it into hundreds of other languages. It's already been translated into more than 50, and the Come and See Foundation wants to expand that to 600, giving the series a far greater impact all across the world. Time now for your Friday Faithful. I leave you with this message. Miracles still happen. You have to believe. Man says impossible. God says I'm possible. Take a long look in the mirror today. There you're going to see a living, breathing, and moving miracle. And here's the good news. He's not done performing miracles. He is doing them today and every day. If you're in need of a miracle, believe God for it today, and then trust Him to do just that. Well, that will do it for this edition of CBN News Watch. Thank you so much for watching. I want to remind you can always find more of our news programs on the CBN News Channel. You can find them there at any time. You can also find them online. That address is cbnnews.com. Take a moment. Let us know what you think about the stories you've seen here today or any day. You can email us. That address is newswatch@cbn.com. You can also reach out and touch us on Facebook, Instagram, and X, formerly known as Twitter. Hope you'll join us again right here next time. Have yourself a wonderful weekend. We'll see you back here same time come Monday. Goodbye, everybody. God bless, and thank you for watching.